muted.
Hey everybody, it's 1300 Pacific time. I know a lot of you are spread across the country, so we'll give it just another minute. It looks like we have the majority of the working group, so just hang tight for another moment, please. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's 1301 on the 28th here. We're going to go ahead and kick this meeting off. Before we start and Shireen takes the roll, I just want to make sure everybody is aware we have the agenda. We're going to stick to the agenda, make sure everybody's paying attention to discussion items and whatnot. So looks like we have the majority to start this and have a quorum. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And I'll ask Shireen, the executive, to take the roll call, please.
John Bagadol.
Present.
Member of the NMSA. Is there someone on the line?
Yeah, hi, Yuri Graves is online.
Thank you, Yuri. Sheriff Elgin. Lee Kamenis.
Present.
Billy Samuels. Scott Lewis.
Scott Lewis is here.
Eric Holt.
Present.
Brett North. Samantha Laddick.
Here.
We do have quorum.
John, this is Billy Samuel. Sorry, I couldn't get off mute.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We also have a couple of cell phone numbers that we have no idea who these folks are. If you could let us know if you're one of our members or if you're just a member of the public attending. We have a number ending in 037 and 373. One's a 702 and then it ends in 037, and the other one's a 775 that ends in 373.
For number ending in 037, that's Sharon Luce for DEM.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. We have quorum, so we'll go ahead and get rolling. Agenda item number 2 is the public comment. This is for discussion only. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Comments will be restricted or will not be restricted based on viewpoint. So we do have this going live on YouTube as well. So for that, we do have a little bit of time we need to kill here. So to provide testimony during this period of public comment via telephone, please call in anytime after the 12:30 and start time and dial 669-219-2599. Then when prompted with the meeting ID, enter 686-738-8625 and press pound. So again, we're just waiting for some time here for the YouTube channel to catch up to our delay.
Right.
Pending any public comment. Does anybody on the Zoom channel have any public comment?
This is Commissioner Ralph Keys from Esmeralda County. Can you hear me?
You can, sir. How are you?
Pretty good. Glad I could join the meeting. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Is that all you wanted to say, or do you have anything else?
Also, we have two of our EMTs, ambulance coordinator here in the meeting also from Fish Lake Valley.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Any other public comment from those on the Zoom world? All right, any public comment here in the room? All right, hearing none, we'll close agenda item number 2 and move on to agenda item number 3, approval of minutes. This is for discussion and possible action. So the working group will discuss and review the minutes of the December 6, 2021 meeting. The working group will determine whether or not to approve these minutes. Does everyone have a chance to review the minutes? It should have been provided in your email with part of the attachments for this meeting. Once you've had a second to review them, it was a very short meeting. I'd like to take a motion to accept the minutes as presented, or if we need to amend the minutes prior to making a motion.
John, this is Scott Lewis. I move to approve the minutes as listed in December 6th, 2021.
Thank you, Chief Lewis. We have a motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
Eric Holt, I'll second it.
Eric Holt has a second. Do we have anybody with any discussion over the minutes? All right, hearing none, let's take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any- Thank you. Any opposed, nay? Excellent. Motion carries to approve the minutes from December. All right, agenda item number 4, update from the Nevada Division of Emergency Management. And this is specifically, we've got a couple new personnel. So I'll introduce our personnel. Jared Franco, he's the new Division of Emergency Management, Homeland Security, ASO, our Administrative Services Officer 3, and Suze Coyote, who is our new Grants and Recovery Manager. Both of them are fairly new to the agency in their positions. Sue's been here for a while. So Jared, if you don't mind introducing yourself, you're up on our screen and everybody can see you real quick.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jared Franco. I'm the CFO for DEM. I'm excited to be here and honored to work with you all.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate the introduction there. Suze, are you on the phone at all?
She's off today.
Okay, she's not available today. So Susan Coyote was the recovery supervisor. She's been promoted internally. We'll make sure that we have a lot of new hires coming on board. We share all that information with everybody. So again, this was discussion only to get some of the pertinent members for your awareness, who you're going to be dealing with as we move forward with grants and operations of this working group. So go ahead and close agenda item number 4. Moving on to agenda item number 5, Emergency Preparedness Working Group Grant Allocations. So this is for discussion only, and Jared Franco from DEM, who you just met, will be presenting the Epwg grant application and to each of the 6 membership counties, Clark, Nye, Lincoln, Esmeralda, White Pine, and Elko, and the amount of rollover from the last agreement in principle grant cycle ending in 18, as well as the 2019 to 2024 contract awards and release dates. Jared Franco, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon again. Shireen, can we see the numbers up on the screen? Yes? Okay. Okay, as you can see from the numbers up on the screen, there's still some outstanding balances from the jurisdictions, mainly Esmeralda County. We have been working, Esmeralda County has hired an accounting firm to start spending down this money, which we think is a great idea. So the previous balance amount is the 1.2 million that has been rolled over into the new grant year and is still available to spend. The new grant period that runs from July 1st of 2021 to June 30th of 2026. Each year will be about 527,000, as you can see. The 21 budget has not been released as of yet because it does have to be approved by the committee. But as you can see, each year, each jurisdiction will get about $87,000. So every year, we want to get better about releasing this money. So we want to at the beginning of each state fiscal year on July 1st or in July, we'd like to have a committee meeting so we can approve those amounts and get them released out to the jurisdiction so they can spend them down. I know we're kind of late to the game already this fiscal year, as we're almost more than halfway done with this fiscal year. So this, once approved, this 87,000 will be available to each jurisdiction. And then every July following until June 30th, 2026, 87,000 more dollars will be available to you. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Commissioner Keys here.
Yes, sir.
This is Commissioner Keys for Esmeralda County. I know we've gotten behind on some of our paperwork, and we've hired Dan MacArthur, our independent auditor, to dig in and try to sort things out so we know we can get back in compliance and access these funds. So that's kind of why I've joined the meeting today. So any help would be much appreciated here. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great that you brought the accounting team to help you out. I did give the contact information to our grant staff, so they will be working with that accounting firm to get you guys caught up. And please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you may have.
okay, and I could be the point of contact too. So share anything with me that you can, because I've spearheaded this program, this project here. So
Absolutely, sir.
Hey, Jared, Billy Samuels.
What's up, Chief?
Hey, did we get the award letter for fiscal year 2020? Has the county received that, or do you guys still have that?
I will check on that. I believe we have. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get out of my Zoom right now so I can look, but I'll check on that and get back to you.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jared. So some of you may be wondering about date discrepancies here. So the actual contract years for a period of 5 years, and then the grants have an operational period of years after that. So we have different augmented years from years of contract and years of award. The awardee, the 6 counties, have an operational period to spend that money afterwards. Billy, we will follow up on your question in regards to the comment of the actual award letters, make sure that those indeed all did get out, and then follow up with the 2021 award letters when that money is released as well. We do foresee a little bit of change here with the way the money would increase just a slight amount, and Jared will have all that information here shortly. It's a recent notification from the Department of Energy on a slight increase on the distributions for the 2021 amount that's about to be released. So any other further questions for Jared on the current contract money that's available to each jurisdiction? All right, hearing none, we will close that item number, excuse me, item number 5, and we'll go on to agenda item number 6, the grant application forms. This is for discussion as well as possible action. So I'll lead this discussion about the path forward on EPWG, the Emergency Preparedness Working Group grant applications, quarterly progress reports, the QPRs, and the quarterly financial reports, the QFRs. The working group will have the opportunity to discuss the application forms and vote on their approved use moving forward. So we have Shireen has put up the application forms up on the screen. So this first one is actually the quarterly progress report. If you look at this, we're trying to make it as simple as possible for the end user, especially the smaller counties that may only have one person that has several different hats that they wear. The progress report will be strictly checkboxing the information that you've used the money towards, and then any additional information you want to put down in the lower box, so that the progress report is very simple, very easy for you to be able to do 1 or 2 items to. Go ahead, 6A. This application form is directly out of our Zoom grants. It's a web-based portal that we're moving to most of our grants, if not soon all of our grants being managed through. It allows you to have a digital platform that you can log into anywhere. If the questions are very simple on being part of the compact, having your response plan, and having the jurisdictional disaster resilient community answers and questions as we go through this. Same type of paperwork that has been on your historical paper applications, but it's going to be a digital platform for you. If you are struggling with the digital platform, we will be able to assist you with technical assistance from our DEM grant staff. So it's actually very easy to use. We've been using it for our EMPG, the Emergency Management Program grant, as well as our Homeland Security grants for the state. So you'll be able to fill all this in and then put your budget costs in there as well. And it does the math for you, so you don't have to pull out the calculator and figure it all out at the end. The budget that's allowed is what will already be input into the program by DEM, similar with all of our other grants. You're able to drop in your different attachments that you need to help be compliant for the grant application. Again, we have people available for technical assistance on this. For smaller counties that don't have the personnel, or you've never used our Zoom grants portal, we'll help you with that. For the larger counties that have been using our Zoom grants portal, nothing's changed other than the questions, the allocation, and the specific grant that this falls under. Now, the quarterly financial report, the next attachment, is a fixed document that we use for all of our grants. It is posted both inside of Zoom grants and this paper option that you put down the different expenditures based upon your total allowance, and you break it down on how you're expending it and then what you have left over. This is probably the most complicated of all the forms. And again, to keep people compliant and not fall behind on their reporting, this is an opportunity that at these meetings, as well as through technical assistance by reaching out to our grant staff, we can help the counties stay compliant. So there's only 3 forms: the application, the quarterly progress report, which is what we did with the money, and then the quarterly financial report, which is the actual declining balance of this is what we had, this is what we spent, this is what we're requesting for reimbursement, and then this is what we actually have left in the balance line. So on this same document for the quarterly financial report, there's also an attachment that has a project change request. So should you be looking to do a substantial change to your actual document inside of your application, then we would want to review that in this group, in this forum, and make sure that it's meeting the intent behind the grant, meeting the intent behind the 6 voting members, and then we'll make that request possible through a vote at the next quarterly meeting. So we'll ask for those to be submitted timely so that they can be on the agenda, and we'll make it a standing item for discussion on project change requests for jurisdictions. So I'd like to open this up to any comments, questions, concerns about the documents as presented.
John, this is Karen Taylor from Clark County.
Go ahead, Karen.
On the application, on question number 4, where it's talking about the procurement and NRS 333. NRS 333 is for state only. On the UASI applications that are in Zoom grants, they have added 332 for us counties and cities.
Jared, would you like to comment on that at all?
Hi, Karen. Yes, this is Jared Franco for the record. As you know, the efficiency of this money, we have to ensure that NRS 333 is being followed, but there is literature inside of NRS 333 that states what local jurisdictions and counties must adhere to as well. I'll have to look into the UASI comment, Karen, for the application, but going forward, we need to ensure, being the officiants and the pass-through for this money, that we're holding the standard of NRS 333.
On the application and Zoom grant, both are listed. We have had this discussion, at least here in the South, with NDM for the last 2 to 3 years, because this is the way it was initially on Zoom grants. And I can only speak for Clark County. Our DA looked at it and they said that we could not sign, Clark County could not sign with that NRS because we are bound by NRS 332, not 333.
All right, hold on one second. So this is just to discuss the forms themselves and not the particularly in-depth aspects of the questions. The questions are on here more in sample form. So we've got some information put out there by Karen and put out there by Jared, which is all part of the discussion, which I'm all for, but I don't want to get off track and get into the weeds on the specific statute and regulations that will be on the final application. We will work with our DAG, our Deputy Attorney General, and we will work with the local councils, should that need be, to make sure everything is attainable, but also compliant with the state rules that we have to follow to delegate the money to the counties. So appreciate that information. We've got that down in our notes and we will address that. We'll make it another agenda item for the next time so we can have resolution as to what the actual content for the statute requirements will be. Is everybody good with that?
Yep. Yes. So John, based on all that and hearing your words and the fact that this is just a trajectory issue, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve the opportunity for the voting on, or the approval moving forward with the grant application forms as presented with the possible changes in the language.
Thank you, Chief Lewis.
This is Lee Cabinets. I'd second that.
Thank you, Lee from Elko. Appreciate that. So we have a first and we have a second. Do we have any further discussion just on the basis of the 3 documents themselves? Having a progress report, having an application, and having a financial report as presented with obviously potential verbiage change. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion approved. I appreciate the discussion on that. Let's go to the next agenda item. We're going to go to number 7, Epwg jurisdiction presentations. And so I'm going to discuss this with you and establish a new standing presentation by one of the 6 counties at the Epwg membership to report to the working group this meeting with a slide or slides and pictures to demonstrate how their jurisdiction has used the Epwg funding over the last 12 to 18 months. No jurisdiction is actually due on this agenda. I don't know if you're all familiar with this, but historically, there used to be a presentation. Then we're talking about 2 years ago when you were on a very regimented cycle of meeting quarterly, that one of the jurisdictions would present to the group. And it was not only good for DEM to have a visual and have you present on how you're spending the money, but for our Department of Energy partners who are on this call to see and have updated information as to how this funding is being used. It helps you, it helps us, and it helps our local DOE partners present at a higher level when we're saying we need this money to continue to operate preparedness for radiological use in the state of Nevada. So by you having these presentations available, it's not only informing this group, but it's also going to help us in the future continue to allocate funds from the federal government. So I wanted to bring this up and get your feedback on one group doing a quick 5 to 10 minute single slide or multiple slide presentation with a couple pictures on over the last year, last whatever period, this is how we've spent this funding. So I'd like to open it up to the floor.
Hey, John, this is Billy. I'm going to apologize because I know I saw your email and you asked for that. I'm more than happy to work that on for the next meeting and have one set up for you guys.
Excellent. So Clark seems to be in favor of it. Don't see any issues from anybody else being presented. So we'll put Clark County on the next agenda and they will give us a presentation on their efforts on their grant from EPWG and what it's been spent on over the last period. We'll say a 1-year operational period, going back to the similar presentations that we used to do. Again, I think it's good for us and good for our federal partners to be able to show the efforts the state is doing.
Nice. I support your plan, John.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments from any of the other members?
Hey, John, this is Lee from Elko. Just I wasn't participating in the committee the last time this was done. So if you have a format that you'd like to use or some of the prior presentations, that would be helpful for me.
Excellent. You stole my closing comment. I was going to send you a single slide template that we'll put EPWG on there so everybody knows what it's for. And then we'll make sure that everybody gets it before the presentation, similar to all of the other information that's shared meetings prior. And then our Department of Energy partners will have that as a tool to use moving forward as well. Any other questions, comments, concerns from anybody on this particular agenda?
John, this is Yuri. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for, re-including this on the agenda. I think it will be helpful, from a federal perspective to see where this money's actually being used. It'll help with our understanding and advocacy moving forward. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, sir. All right, any other final comments before we close this agenda item for discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll close agenda item number 7 and let's go on to number 8. And this particular agenda item has the EPWG charter and bylaws. This will be a discussion led by myself for possible action with the working group. We'll discuss the working group and the current charter and bylaws. The working group will review the meeting schedules currently quarterly and discuss the previous request of a semi-annual meeting. The reason why I put both charter and bylaws on here was because it was historically called bylaws. And over the last year, it was changed to a charter. And that was agreed upon in this group as assigned by Chief Fogerson. So we now go by the charter. If you go to your attachments, attachment number 8 has the current bylaws, or I'm sorry, the historical bylaws. And then underneath there, 8A is the current working group charter. And if you flip to the second page of the charter under Roman numeral 4 meetings, it says EPWG meetings will be called at the discretion of the chair or at the request of the chief, but not less than biannual and or at the request of the chief. That's the first line of the current charter. This was brought up during public comment, I believe, during the last meeting, and someone had brought up about meeting less frequently. So I'll start this discussion and let you guys all please give your input. The reason why I'm going to suggest we stick with quarterly is because you have quarterly progress reports and quarterly financial reports that are due. We can have those discussions here, make sure everybody's compliant on a quarterly basis. And if someone is not, what do we need to do to get you compliant? We want to be a helper, not a hinderer to the process. And I think maintaining this on a quarterly basis will allow us to manage the reporting and then also the reporting out. A much more frequent process of you, the working group, 6 members, would allow you to do a report out every 18 months. So basically every year and a half, you would be on the hook to want to do one of those short presentations to the group. And then every quarter, we could continue to maintain quarterly financial and progress report discussions as a standing agenda item to make sure everybody is compliant. So I'd like to turn it over to your group for the discussion. I don't remember who brought it up, but it was brought up during public comment back in either December or September.
Hey, John, this is Billy. I easily probably could have been the one that said, hey, let's go to every 6-month meetings. That was when we were all getting hammered down with meetings and we were just so overwhelmed. I have no problem doing quarterly. That's just my opinion. And if it's a 20-minute meeting, it's a 20-minute meeting, but I have no problem with quarterly, at least on my side.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Lewis?
We're on meeting. So good to go. I'm good with quarterly.
All right. Eric Hall?
Yeah, same. I agree. I think, having the quarterly meetings is going to keep us a little more up to date. And at times I feel like we're a little out of the loop on things. So that way, if there's a need, we can address it. And if not, it'll be a quick meeting.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Chief Pettis, any concerns? I can't hear you, Lee. Head shaking, no.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think quarterly is fine. I think also that gives you guys the opportunity to have your quarterly reports and that kind of thing a little more consolidated. And you've talked to everybody, so I'm good with quarterly.
All right, I don't see any other voting members unless somebody's on by telephone. Any other comments? Esmeralda County, I know that your emergency manager isn't on here, but Mr. Commissioner, any comments from you on maintaining quarterly?
Yeah, I like the quarterly meetings. I think we can help us get back on track a little better that way and keep a better accounting of everything that's going on. So I'm going to make some other comments, but I'll wait till after a public comment. So
thank you, sir.
John,
Yeah.
this is Karen Taylor for the record. I have a comment about the bylaws.
So the bylaws are no longer in effect. It's now being operated under a charter.
Okay, well then I have a
Charter is the
question.
current document.
Okay, then I have a comment about the charter.
Okay.
About 3 years ago, I guess, when Caleb was the chief and Chief Steinbeck was the representative for the EPWG, there was a discussion and a item passed. You're probably going to have to look back in some of the old meetings. It's between that 2 and 3 year where he was getting ready for his new position and Chief Steinbeck was being promoted, that they had decided under grant administration that any balance from any of the counties, if it reached the 3 year point and they hadn't spent their money, that it would then be put back into the sort of kitty and be redistributed to the other counties.
So to stay with the current agenda item, none of that is listed in the current charter.
I saw that.
We will keep that off of this particular conversation and we can bring that up for another agenda item at a later time.
Okay. But it just wasn't there and we had discussed that. It was between 2 and 3 years ago.
Okay. Appreciate the comment. So in regards to this agenda item, maintaining the current process of quarterly meetings, is there any more discussion on quarterly meetings for this agenda item? All right, hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve quarterly meetings as they currently stand.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Chief Lee Cavins from Elko. Do I hear a second?
Second, Scott Lewis.
Thank you, Chief Lewis. Do we have any further discussion on quarterly meetings? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion passes. So we've gone through all the other agenda items. We're going to go back to public comment. Agenda item number 9 for discussion only. No item may be taken. No action may be taken upon the matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person. At the discretion of the chair, comments will not be restricted based on viewpoint. Again, we have a little bit of a lag for our YouTube viewers, so we'll give it just a minute. I'll ask anybody on the phone in Zoom land, do you have any public comments?
Commissioner Keys here.
Yes, sir.
Just some general questions. There was nothing agendized for our situation, but I want to make sure we get all the required documents for any claims cleared up and make sure our county's got all the policies in order and up to date. So you can point me in the right direction there. It'd be much appreciated.
Thank you, sir. We can't take any action on this, but we've heard what you've had to say, so I appreciate the comments. Anybody else on the Zoom world here have any other public comments? Anybody on the YouTube channel, to be able to call in and undo your password with 669-219-2599. Then put the password in and hit pound. How about anybody in the room? Right, not hearing any other public comment. We're ready for adjournment. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn, Scott Lewis.
Scott Lewis, thank you, sir. Second?
Second, Eric Holt.
Second from Chief Holt, Lincoln. Sure, there's no discussion on that. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, nobody's opposed. We're good to go.